Welcome. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Thank you all for being here today. Welcome, everyone. Everyone is welcome to this channel. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. I really appreciate that. And I'm glad that my personal experiences with healing grief has not only been brought to your attention, but it's helping you. It's so important that people hear these messages so that they can feel, you know, less despair and that they can have hope that they can do the same. So let's jump into it. Before I do that, guys, today's been a crazy day, a lot of busy things. I actually have a 5 o'clock meeting that I have to attend. So I tried to get on here as soon as I could because, having meetings and et cetera and so forth, it's been really busy. But I am here and, I'm glad this is working because when I first got on, it looked like there was another black screen, but thank God the camera clicked in. I don't know what that's about, but anyway, so today's a gorgeous day outside. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I think I heard a coworker tell me that tomorrow is going to be close to 90, and it's like OMG, And so let's embrace life. Let's enjoy the weather, guys. If you have vacation, go to the beach if it's really hot, and be out in the water if you can, and just do something to uplift your spirits and stay cool all at the same time. It's so important in the world we live in today. Take care of yourselves. And for those who are here for the first time, I say this every video. I'm not a certified therapist or social worker. I don't have a certification or degree in that category. However, I'm someone who went through all these trials and tribulations that I talk about on this channel, and I'm also a 9/11 survivor. I wasn't directly in a building. I was actually driving when a plane hit, the first and second plane hit, but I was caught in the midst of it because all the thick smoke, etc., and so forth. And I thank God that I'm here. And, when I think about God, I'm just so grateful for a lot of things in my life. Even though I experienced a lot of losses, I'm thankful and grateful to God because He's the one who brought me back. When I say back to life, because I just was like, just not enjoying life to the fullest. And I want to talk to you guys about that. Never just, what's the word I'm looking for? Never just exist. Enjoy your life to the fullest. Embrace new beginnings. I know it could be scary, but sometimes God has to clear the clutter from our life in order for us to receive the new. We can't have two and three and four doors open and expect to receive. Sometimes we have to close those past doors because if it's not for our highest good and it's not bringing good things into our life, then the door must be closed, because when you're on this path to healing and you're very serious about it and you start to persevere through any distractions that will try to take you off that path, when you're serious about that, it's important to tune out the noise, that's going to be around you. Because when you start doing something for yourself and you take the focus off of other people to make yourself a priority due to mental and physical health and pain and anguish and all of that stuff, people start to feel some kind of way. And so sometimes they try to distract you from what you're doing to get your attention because now the focus is not on them, the focus is on you. And like I said, it's not being selfish or self-absorbed. If you don't take care of yourself, physical and mental health, then how can you take care of anything else around you? because that means you're not okay if your mental and physical health is suffering. I always emphasize that it's important. Every day take some time out for yourself, even if it's an hour, 2 hours, just to do you. And if that means pampering yourself, with a nice bubble bath, some candles, and some music around you, so be it. A nice dinner, or just that flowers, or getting a pedicure or a massage, or whatever it is that floats your boat, that make you feel better, about yourself. Because that means that you're nurturing that inner child within you that feels broken, or frightened, or whatever that trauma is. It's one day at a time, one step at a time. And I always encourage you guys, like for me, the first step of everything I've gone through is therapy. Because once I started the process of therapy, then I understood slowly, as I continued to meet up with the therapist every week. I started to find some creative ways to make myself feel better and to heal myself. But I didn't do that alone. When I say not alone, with the help of God. Because alone, when it comes to other people and situations, they were nowhere in sight. They all had disappeared or fell to the wayside. And the people who were really there were dying off. They were no longer here. And the people, the fake friends and the fake this and that, they were gone once, everything around me just was stagnated. And so I had to turn to God, either swim or drown. And I looked up to God, and it was important that I do that. And the title of this discussion today is Put God in a Healing Process, because I couldn't do it without Him. I just felt like everything felt overwhelming. And I just felt so alone and disconnected. And I turned to God. At first, in some way back prior videos, I talk about the anger I had against God for allowing things to happen. But sometimes, now the space I'm in today, I understand, because sometimes the tower moment has to happen where everything fall apart in order for everything to be built up again. And like I said about closing doors, sometimes you got to close and padlock doors in order to open a new door and let the new beginnings in. You can't drag the toxicity and the negativity and all the dirt and everything with you as you go towards your new beginnings, because it's not going to work. It's like water and oil, trying to mix that together and make it work. It's not going to work. And so sometimes we have to let go of things in the past in order to strive for the new beginnings. And before we can even get those new beginnings, we have to heal within. We have to build ourselves up. And I was at a point where I just felt like I was just existing. I had people behind the scenes trying to do the most and the worst, who I thought were friends and who really had my back. I had to learn, these people never really cared about me, whether it was friends, family, or otherwise. And the pain of learning that this is what the reality was made me feel even more pain piled on top of the pain I already had from the loss of my mother, my dog, my friends, and then this stuff. And I was so down to the ground and low. I had to learn how to do this. And I promised and made a vow to God that if He helped me, that I was going to take the necessary steps and I was going to help other people. If And I said to God, if you help me to rise above all of this, and it was just by myself, it was impossible to rise above it. But I asked God to help me. If you help me rise above this, I made a vow to help other people to pay it forward. And that's what I'm saying to you guys here. If any of these messages and videos that I am posting here is helping you and it resonates with you, take what applies to your situation and see if it works in your own circumstances. And then as you start to get better, you do better. And then pay it forward to help somebody else. Because let's face it, people today who are in spaces of grief and pain, many people are in a space of depression. And the depression gets worse when you don't heal within. And then it could lead to despair and hopelessness. And we never want anyone to be in that space, you know. But we can help ourselves with the help of God, you know. And if we come to God and we have pure motives and we're sincere and genuine, you know, God is going to help you. You ask Him to help you, He's going to help you. And how He's been helping me, if I take a step, God is in the back taking 2 and 3 and 4 steps. And I've seen it over and over again because I've asked Him for His help. And what I did, I had to just dust myself off and bring myself up little by little because I was in so much pain and so much despair that, you know, that's why I tell you guys in the beginning, just take a step, even a half a step, but don't give up on yourself. Investing in yourself should be a priority. You're going to fall, you know, but get right back up the next day or whatever and keep going. I fell plenty of times. This all was back in 2020, you know, and it just everything, you know, with all the stuff, having problems with my own child, and it was going on, and everything felt like the walls were like closing in and in and in, you know. And then I said, God, please, and I cried out to Him, and you know, God started to help me, and where I am in my life today compared to then, it's a miracle from God, you know. And I always give the gratitude, the thanks to Him because I wouldn't have made it without Him. And you know, and I am paying it forward, you know. And one of the other things to do is to speak to God like you would speak to another person, you know, like you would speak to your earthly father. You know, I talk to God. It's not rehearsed prayers. You know, I ask God to help me, and as He helped me, this is my plan to do A, B, C, and D. And one of those, you know, vows I made was to pay it forward to help other people, because I've seen spaces where people are hurting real bad, and they don't have anyone to talk to. They don't have anyone to go to, and they're learning that the people who they thought had their back is nowhere in sight. And you know, and as I did that and as I grew, my therapist taught me to set boundaries. And I was afraid to do that because people were going to behave in a negative manner. But as I started to put me first and take care of my needs and my health, my physical and mental health, I started to grow stronger. And I started to understand that investing in me was so important because I matter just as much as the next person. It doesn't matter what these other folks think. You know, tune that stuff out because they need to heal. You know, if they choose not to, that's on them. But I can't let myself stay stuck and stagnated. You know, and yesterday I did a video about cut the cord. And this is what I've done. I asked God, the people, because some of these people were like leeches. They didn't want to fall by the wayside. They just kept coming and coming and coming towards me. And I said, God, just cut the cord. Cut the cord permanently. I don't want these people ever again back into my life. Now that I know what they were doing to me behind the scenes, I mean, people, I can't even go into details of the things, trying to set me up for stuff I've never done, you know, making false reports. I mean, just doing the most and the worst. And if it wasn't for God, you know, they would have succeeded. But God is my partner in all that I do. You know, I love God like no tomorrow because He felt that I was worth it. And if God is on my side, who can be against me? And that's what lifted me up, that God felt that I was worth it. Lisa Vaughn is worth it. And I'm here. I got your back. And every time I take a step, like I said, He's in the background taking other steps. Don't worry about what these folks are doing. Tune that out. You know, redirect your focus to yourself. People are going to gossip. People are going to make fun. They're going to say this and that. Let them. But ask God to have your back as you are in a space of healing. Because otherwise, you're focusing on all this toxicity and what people got going on towards you or whatever. I couldn't do that and heal at the same time. So I asked God to take that. And what I did is in prayer, transmuted all of that hate and negativity and toxicity, lies, maliciousness, trying to set me up for failure, all of that. And I pulled all of that together, and through prayer, and I transmuted that to God. I'm giving this to you. Because now when they do this, God got this, and God's going to return it all, because I needed to stay in a place to heal, and the thing about it that gets me the most, folks, is that I never did anything malicious to any of these folks, but they thought that, because I'm a generous and nice person, that they were going to, and I was, more importantly, the worst thing, I felt was being subservient to these people all this time. And they thought they could take advantage of that. But when I started to heal, it's like the old version of myself fell by the wayside. It fell off. And the new version of who I am today immersed, and I don't care about how these folks feel. If I did something to somebody, that's something different. But I know I haven't, nothing negative. I've helped a lot of these people, and some of these people who were down to the ground had issues. I was generous to them and helped them. And then they go behind the scenes and do this stuff. And then so I cut off, block, and delete. But it was in steps, for me to get strong enough to know that I'm worth it. Because as you start to heal, you start to learn that you are worth it, and that if it's not for my highest good, it doesn't need to be in my life. Why do I need these people in my life? They're not enhancing or building up. It's just tearing down and trying to destroy. So let them go to the wayside. So I asked God, cut the cord permanently, so these people can never, ever come back into my life, because they were not there for me in the first place. They didn't have my back. So everything that I do, and if I'm not sure about decisions that I'm making, I ask God, here's what I do. And I'm sharing this with people because those, who really believe in God and love him, and those who are trying to get to know him as well, ask God to have your back when you're healing, because you need to focus on yourself at this particular time. If you're in a space of doing some real healing, and taking care of your physical and mental health, you don't need to be worried about what some toxic individual or situation, what they're trying to bring to the table, and you're over here trying to heal. Ask God to have your back in this, and ask God, cut the cord. If they're coming for me with bringing toxicity and negativity, maybe set some boundaries. And if they keep overstepping those boundaries, ask God to cut the cord. And that's what I have done. Cut the cord permanently. It doesn't matter who they are. Can be family members, can be friends, exes, whatever, situations, whatever. Cut the cord. Because I am no longer that old version of myself. I have healed tremendously, and I have grown and evolved. And I'm not the same Lisa that's going to be subservient to other people who are already abusing and bringing toxicity to my table. They can no longer do that. Cut off, block, and delete. And it doesn't matter, when people keep lying and being malicious and gossip, what people need to do is look at the individual who's spreading this malicious gossip, and look at what they're doing, and look at the person who's out there helping other people, wanting to build people up, not asking for $1 or anything for it, but just sharing and paying it forward. And as that person is elevating, the other person is just in a space of toxicity, So before you start believing lies and viciousness, do your homework on it, do your research to see what the truth is, instead of believing that, because then you can get yourself tied up with some toxicity that you don't belong in, because some people have different ways to try to drag people into toxicity, especially when you're in a space of healing. Some people don't want to see you heal. They just want to keep you in a space where you feel pain, and people like that, I don't need in my life in the first place. And so when I need to make decisions about people, places, things, situations, and I'm not sure, what I do is go to God, and I say to him this: Heavenly Father, if it's not for my highest good, if it's not going to enhance my life and bring goodness to it, block it, shut it down, block it, cut it off, and delete it, so it doesn't even enter my life. Because at this point in my life, how I feel is that If it's not for my highest good, it doesn't belong in my life. If it's not there to enhance it, it doesn't belong there. And sometimes people set up traps and whatever, and it's so much better to avoid the traps than to fall into them. And we can't see everything in human form. We don't know what other people's intentions are sometimes, no matter how much we try to see that. So, but God does. And that's why I go to Him and say, if it's not for my highest good and it's something toxic, don't even let it come near me. Cut the cord, cut off, block, and delete. And that's where I am, because it is better, to, like I always say, to be in a space of peace than in pieces. It's the world we live in today. Many people, it's not the same as when I was growing up. They're out for self, what they can get. And I've ran into some people who are so lazy that they don't even want to go out to work to take care of themselves. They want you to do it. And I'm not responsible for anybody but myself. And the only thing that I want to be responsible for is myself and a dog in the near future. I don't want that. If a person is not working with me, then they're working against me. I'm not taking care of anybody. I'm not paying nobody's bills. And I don't want them to do that for me as well. When I come together with someone, it's going to be an equal give and take. It's going to be on the same length. I don't ever want myself to be in a space where I'm settling. And I'm saying this to to you guys out there as well. Never settle for less than what you deserve. Because as you start to heal, you start to grow, evolve, you start to love on yourself, you start to know what you deserve, and you start to self-care. Excuse me. You start to self-care and take care of yourself. And never settle for something just because you're alone and you're single. Always know your worth. And if something is not, if something is toxic and negative and stuff, know your self-worth, know what you deserve. And when you know what you deserve and you love yourself, you're not going to settle. It doesn't matter what people are talking about. I learned how to tune that out and ignore it. Sometimes I even just laugh at it and shake my head because I have no words for the stuff that's been going on. But I know that I thank God every day that I don't allow that toxicity into my life, and that to this point I've made better decisions instead of impulsive ones that could get me into a space of being trapped and in toxicity. And know what to look for, and know what you want. When you know what you want, you don't settle just because you're alone, just because you don't have these specific friends or a situation. Remember, what I said in prior videos, as I'm repeating now. Situations or people or things come into our life for a reason, a season, a lifetime, or a lesson. Know what a lesson is. Learn those quickly so you don't have to repeat them, because it's not fun. It doesn't make you feel good. And if you have to repeat it, it's worse than ever. Don't ever keep riding the wheel, going back and forth with somebody. When I set boundaries, we talk and sit, and they can set boundaries with me as well. We talk about it, a meeting of the minds coming together, and what's a deal breaker, and all of that, talk about it. And if a person still continue to disrespect your boundaries and keep crossing them, then they don't have any respect for you as an individual. So what I do after having two conversations more, I cut off, block, and delete, because it's not going to continue to happen, because that means that I'm riding that wheel that I would never be able to get off. And so I cut off, block, and delete, and move on. It doesn't matter what they're talking about. It's not important at that point, because they're showing me through their actions that they have no respect. And it doesn't need to be an argument or craziness. It's just cut off, block, and delete. My peace is better, is everything. My healing is everything. And as long as God got my back, then what do I need to worry about? So prayer and meditation is important to me, as well as music. Because when I feel, what's the word, an imbalance, the music put me back, where I need to be. And prayer with God and meditation always help me, you know. And I'm encouraging you guys to do the same thing. Try God out. And, you know, and like I said, and you continue to persevere, even though if you take a half step and you don't take 2 or 3 that day, then the next day, you know, get up and try again. The key factor is never to give up on yourself. Always invest in yourself. Because when you're better, you do better, you know. And as you do better, you know, you can help other people around you, you know. So that is the message today. I really have to go in a few minutes because I have a meeting. I have to jump in. But please, I hope these messages are helping you. Tell me in a comment category if there's a specific topic that you would like to hear, you know. And then I give you my personal experiences on that situation, you know, if I had a situation with that. But the key factor is to keep being here to help other people, and please invite others as well. And this is a no judgment zone. We're not here to tear people apart, but to uplift people and help them. So that's it for today. I will be back tomorrow. I can't give you a time, but if you subscribe to the channel, you will get a notification as to when I'm on, and then you can come on. Everyone is welcome. Thank you again. This is Lisa, shedding love and light always to you. And I'll be back tomorrow with a new message. Thank you all. Have a great evening. Bye for now.